It's all about doing what's fair for both people and maintaining good boundaries. Okay. And so you have an expectation of boundaries and you want to be able to express the boundaries as well as the conditions for a relationship with your partners. Mostly from what we're going to be talking about today is from the guy perspective, and you guys, preparing yourself with relationships with women. All right. But for my female listeners, a lot of the things I am going to say here are actually universally true. So understand I'm speaking to a guy audience, but you could apply a lot of this stuff to yourself and in safeguarding your relationships with guys. I'm also going to speak for brevity and ease about monogamy a lot. Like I'm going to speak from a reference point of monogamy, but that doesn't mean you have to have a monogamous relationship for it to be a good relationship. And that also doesn't mean that, cheating only exists in monogamy, right? In other words, there's polygamist situations. A lot of my male, listeners will do that where they're with a girl and they play with other girls, maybe have threesomes occasionally, or maybe they date other women too, or whatever. And their main girl is happy and complacent with that. I'm not here to judge your structure, but the point is if you have boundaries of what the sexual commitment looks like, and then somebody else goes and breaks those boundaries, that's effectively cheating. And it's just as harmful or hurtful in a scenario where, let's say you and your partner have threesomes together. If you were to go off and sleep with somebody without her being emotionally okay with that, if you were to do it outside of the boundaries you two set for each other, she's going to be equally as hurt as if you were in a monogamous situation and you were to step out. You know what I mean? And so I want to lift that confusion. It's not even though I'll be speaking for ease of, having the conversation as if it's like two people together monogamous. Even if that's not your structure, it's still just as harmful to cheat on your partner in different structures and break those boundaries, which brings to a initial point of talking about those boundaries. Okay. So there's an assumption, which is a wrong one, that everybody knows what a commitment means. And that's one you need to erase from your head. Okay. Especially if you're dudes trying to lead your relationships and have frame in your relationships. What does a commitment mean? So like, does it mean, and it's something you're actually discovering with your partner as you get deeper into that commitment. Or for my mastermind group guys, I call, it's called idealized isolation, where you're from a mental perspective, you isolate your relationship from the outside world so that you're not, polluted with other people's values, which may not match or be good for your values. Right. And so you're determining and discovering what the values are of each other and discovering what it means to be in a commitment in the beginning. And you need to understand that and know that and have these conversations. Don't leave something up to no conversation and expect and have an expectation of, an understanding of certain boundaries. You know what I mean? Some people, they're in a commitment and they think it's okay to be friends with exes, for example, and go out and hang out one-on-one with an ex. Some people are, that's their boundary. They think that's okay. Well, I don't think that's okay personally in my relationships, but I mean, if that's somebody else's thing, I mean, that's their thing. I'm not here to judge it. Again, there's problems that can arise with any structure and whatever. And maybe there's special circumstances. I mean, who knows? But that being said, though, okay, if one person thinks it's okay to go meet up with an ex and have dinner, and she goes and does that, and you don't think that's okay, and that's never been really a topic of discussion or breached, then you're going to have serious problems. Okay. You can't have a covert contract where you have an expectation without having had sort of discussion about those boundaries, things like how to handle men or women that are trying to enter into the frame of the relationship and take your partner away from you. These are all things like how you expect your partner to handle it. That should be not assumed and discussed. Okay. And as the dude leading the relationship, you need to be clear about what you expect from her, and then also clear about what your behavior is going to be. And there is no equality. Okay. So, like a lot of women may be listening, they don't like that to hear that, but it's the truth. Men and women are different. So, it's different when women are contacting men for something versus men contacting women for something. And unfortunately, dudes are worse than women at trying to get a girl to break the relationship boundaries and things of that nature. Women can friend zone dudes and be platonic a lot easier than men. So there is no equality here, but there is fairness. And so you have to make sure as a man, when you're setting the frame and your boundaries, that you are doing it in a fair way. It won't be equal / the same, because different situations are different. And unfortunately, I mean, men and women are different. And how people are going to interact with a woman in a relationship is going to be different than how people interact with a man in a relationship. It's not a contest. It's not, someone trying to get something more than the other person. You have to remove that sort of thinking from your brain if you expect to have any success in a relationship. It's all about doing what's fair for both people and maintaining good boundaries. Okay. And so you have an expectation of boundaries, and you want to be able to express the boundaries as well as the conditions for a relationship with your partners. And don't make any assumptions.